Hello and welcome once again to Weston Nurseries Lincoln. I'm Catherine Cooper, floor coordinator here, and I'm out in the beautiful sunshine to talk about a few perennials that are now looking fantastic as we head into the middle of August. The first plants I'm going to talk about are arranged along the top here. They are cultivars of our native hibiscus. This particular variety is cherry chocolate, and as you can see, beautiful pink flowers and purplish bronzy foliage. They produce lots of flowers over a long period. You can see them all coming up here, and they are a perennial. So believe it or not, at the end of the season, when the frosts come, the stems will die back. You cut them back to the ground, and they hibernate throughout the winter and come back in the spring, later than most plants. So don't be surprised if it isn't until May that you see something actually happening. They haven't died, they're just taking their time. And for those of you who are interested in the actual true natives, we have here Hibiscus cochineus. It is Scarlet Rosemallow is its common name, and this little baby is very top heavy at the moment because it's in a small pot. But these grow, unlike the cultivars, which make a nice rounded 4 feet tall plant, great at the back of the borders, these grow to about 6 feet tall. And again, you can just see the buds are coming, and as its botanical name suggests, it's going to have scarlet red flowers. The cultivars you can find in colours ranging all the way from white through to pink and red as well. So this one and the others actually like a moist soil. They can grow by the riverbanks. The native species don't mind actually sitting with wet feet for a short while. Just don't try and grow them in a really sunny, dry conditions. They won't thrive. So average soil to moist, even wet at times, is perfect for them. As is often the case with many native plants, the flowers can be smaller than the cultivars. The thing is, with cultivars, they're bred to have qualities that enhance their native beauty. So these cultivars are a little bigger in blooms than you will tend to find on these. But that doesn't mean that these are insignificant. They will still be really eye-catching from a distance. Moving on to our next sun-loving plants, grasses. Grasses are starting to do their thing now, which is wonderful because some of the best texture that you can get in the late summer comes from grasses. I have two varieties here. This is a compact Pennisetum. This one's called Burgundy Bunny, which is particularly nice as we move into fall because some of its leaves are actually burgundy coloured. They're not dying. That is the colour they're meant to be, and it will be enhanced as we move into fall. Behind it is probably my all-time favourite grass, little Bluestem, Cicericium scopiarum, if I've managed it correctly. It is a jawbreaker of a name, but wonderful plant. So we have two cultivars here, and I'm going to fish this one out because you probably can't appreciate them tucked in there. So this one is Blue Paradise, and it showcases what the native plant actually does quite well, except twice the height. You'll see this growing in open space. You can see it around here in Massachusetts. It's native to Massachusetts, and it has this blue-gray colored foliage at this time of year. As we move into fall, it will turn shades of rust and bronze and gradually fading to a tan color in the winter. It's perfect in so much as it is one of the best grasses to hold up all the way through the winter to give visual interest. It will stand snow and usually perk up again. So it is my all-time favorite grass. So this one, as we said, was Blue Paradise, but this one is a wonderful novelty in this one is called chameleon. So yes, it has that pinkish blue that comes with the other one, but if you look closely, the leaves are variegated, white, green, and even pink as well. So this is going to do exactly the same thing as the others. It will change color in the fall, it will hold up through the winter. It just likes an average soil. You can see pretty much with these, they already have their flower spikes. So this is the height that you're going to get from them. And massed together as a group, they make a really lovely dramatic statement. If you're planning on planting these, I would say don't do them in onesies. So if you're going to do a group, keep to the same variety. Or if it's a large planting, 2 at most. You know, don't just do as they stand like this. You can see individually they're detracting from each other a bit, and it would be best to keep to one variety and intersperse them with other plants, of which we have a few more along here. So moving on to our sun lovers, a couple of plants that will go well with grasses like this. We have here a little compact Agastache, very drought tolerant. It's a member of the mint family. In fact, if I ruffle its foliage, I can smell the sort of minty smell that you get from members of the mint family. So it smells a bit like catmint too. This particular one is Kudos Coral. And as you can see, that aptly describes its flowers. They come in a variety of colors, yellows, pinks, reds, purples. Our native Agastache is purple and much taller than this, but they are great for warm, dry, sunny spots. And once again, we have our versatile cone flowers. I know I talked about them earlier, but I just want you to see how they're still going strong. They're still doing their thing. It's wonderful. This particular one, Sombrero Salsa, and it goes well with the Agastache, picking up the Burgundy in the Burgundy bunny there. It's just a great plant. Both of these are loved by pollinators. So what more can I say other than come by me? Moving on, we have some sedum. Sedum are basically succulent plants, incredibly drought tolerant, and come in a variety of sizes and colors. So what we have here has just been described to be by somebody as cauliflower and broccoli. Cauliflower here is a beautiful, dense sedum. It's going to be covered in tiny pale pink flowers, which you should be able to see just starting to open. So this is Rock and Round Pure Joy. Autumn Joy is the big one that everybody's familiar with. This is Rock and Round Pure Joy. It is going to be covered in pollinators and butterflies. They absolutely love it. And then to contrast with foliage, the flowers will be pink when they do open. This one is back in black. And then lastly, just so they're not left out, we have a little ground cover one here, and as you can see, the foliage actually contrasts very nicely with this one. So this one, and I don't know that I'm going to pronounce the name, botanical names are tough, mind you, at times, Lidocens. But it's a little blue-grey ground cover that they're all coming into their own at this time of year. And moving on, our last really drought-tolerant plant, another aromatic plant, which is indicative often that they are sun lovers, drought tolerance, is Russian sage. Again, aromatic foliage, which just by touching it releases the scent. This one is Crazy Blue. The nice thing about them is that once established, they are bulletproof. They really like dry, gravelly soil. They will produce a long tap root to survive these conditions. And you have these light, feathery blue flowers, which are just visible here, and they will last for ages. So they are a nice textural contrast with the plants that you see along here. And finally, to wrap up our group of sun lovers here, I have a native cultivar of ironweed, Vernonia, along with our local native New England ironweed. Both of them produce these clusters of tiny purple flowers. There's masses of them to come here. Once they open, you can really appreciate the beauty of the flowers. Pollinators love them. You will see loads of bees on these. So our native plant is actually a really tall one. It's a meadow plant. Generally, they like average moisture to a little bit moist. They're not going to want to buddy up with the sedum and the Russian sage here in really dry conditions. So make sure that they get some average moisture. And this one's still a baby. Mine in my yard are over 6 feet tall. So put them somewhere where they make a backdrop to your other plantings. Unlike some of the other plants I've mentioned, like some of the Rudbeckia maxima, it's not a see-through plant. It's there and you will notice it when it's fully established. So-called ironweed because the stems do become quite woody when they die back, and you can need a little bit of muscle to cut them back, but it is well worth it. It is a great plant for the garden. We've now moved on to our shade lovers. So here we are in a different part of the yard where they would really be happy if we could plant them here, but for the purpose of the exercise, here we are on the stone path. I know flowers are more difficult to come by for shade areas. We often have to rely on texture and foliage colors, hostas for example. I'm going to start with a really cool shade lover with flowers that actually look a little orchid-like. Its common name is toad lily, Tricetis, and this variety is Trojan. And you can see they come in sort of several shades of colors. This one is white with purple tips to the flowers. And it really is a delicate and attractive addition to the shade garden. This one is quite tall, you know, it's hip height on me. And then moving on, we have another one which is not native to our area. This is what's known commonly as Japanese anemone. This one is one of the earliest to bloom. It's called September Charm, which does really indicate when it's really at its best, so in a few weeks' time. But it is one of the earliest to bloom. Again, they range between about 18 to 2.5 feet tall, and come in colors of shades of pink and white. The best white one that you will find is known as Honorine Gilbert. Moving on, most of you will be familiar with heuchera, but I just want to point out how well they do hold up throughout the season, how much color the foliage gives. You know, sort of imagine those together, sort of how well the heuchera here would set off the flowers if this was ringed around the base of it. So don't forget the common heuchera. They are nativars for the most part that we sell. This one is called Magma, and it does have beautiful, vibrant red leaves. I don't know if we can catch it in the sun, but if I hold it up, and you can actually see under the foliage, which growing in the ground is a little more tricky, but look how vibrant the colors are of these particular red leaves. And finally, our last one, which is blooming its little heart out at the moment and is such a pretty flower for shadier areas. It is Skullcap. Again, another native. This is about the height this particular one grows to. And what more can I say other than the bees love it, and so do the other pollinators. This is my little selection for August of shade lovers. We have a couple of natives, which is wonderful because they really are sometimes underappreciated. So this wraps up August blooming perennials. Just my take on them. That doesn't mean there aren't plenty of others that that would catch your eye. So if any of these take your fancy, come down and see us. We've got 4 retail locations, obviously here in Lincoln where I am, Hopkinton, Chelmsford and Hingham. And if you like these videos, you can always subscribe to our channel, and you can go onto our website where you will find other information about plants, problem areas in your yard, anything like that. Just take a look. You'll be surprised what you could find.